Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me? Thumbs up. Am I coming across? Okay. Folks in the foyer, just wanted to thank you all for coming and say thank you very much. I am not a public speaker. I'm a public reader. So I'm going to refer to the notes on my phone quite frequently as soon as I can bring them up. But I do want to, say thank you for coming to the Carlie Pearson Human Nature show here. I'm not going to try to wing this. I am going to actually read this. No. Okay, I'm going to wing it because I can't find it. So here's a little bit about how the show's going to go for the evening. We welcome you to grab some food. You can eat in the sanctuary. We just ask you be very, very careful because I get yelled at and I'm really sensitive. Please take your time. Roughly at about 7:45, we're going to have an artist Q&A. Carlie and I will sit up here. I'll ask her a few really hard questions, and we'll see how that goes. And then you're welcome to mill around after that and look some more at the art. I think Carlie was interested in being out and available for questions after the Q&A. The show will close very promptly at 9 o'clock, and that is because the cleaning crew are militants. And so the sooner I'm out of here, the less I have to do. I want to say thank you to a few people right off the bat for making this show. First and foremost, I'm going to point to her. For those of you that don't know her, Carlie Pearson, she's standing over here in front of her thorn piece. Carlie, can we just wave, let everyone see you? I want to say thank you for being willing to show here. You're welcome. You have made my year showing here. Her stuff speaks to me in ways that I just geek out on and can't stop talking about with others. The tables out front are entirely the responsibility of Rebecca Price. I would like to tell her thank you very much for catering our show. She's also our social media person, our advertiser, and I literally could not have pulled this off without her. Our gallery manager, Aubrey Johnson, couldn't be here this evening. She's away traveling, but she is my go-to gal. She's the one that is in charge of the gallery and makes stuff happen. So we want to thank her. At least on the live stream, she'll see us. Let's see. Our tech people. I have to give a huge, huge shout out to our tech people who are doing the live stream for us. They came up with the slideshow. They are helping out in ways behind the scenes, which are, if they weren't there, it would have been a bumbling effort on my part, anything technical. So I'd like to thank them. Like I said, I'm not a public speaker. Thank you. So please enjoy the show, enjoy eating. We do want to point out on this wall, there are pieces that are a little bit more pokey. They have things that may catch your fabric of your shirt. There's some depth to these paintings, physical depth. So, and it's a narrow walkway. Just want to point that out to you and ask you to be mindful as you walk by. Other than that, enjoy. Thank you for coming. both on. So, whenever you're ready, give me a cue. I believe so. Okay. So this one will be yours.
Thank you.
I'm actually going to get out my phone. I'll take a few more minutes just so I can add the question.
Thank
I love you too. Thank you. Thank you. So,
right.
man, do we need the spots? Okay, thank you. So, everyone, welcome again to the Carlie Pearson Human Nature exhibit, show, gallery opening. I realize I did not actually introduce myself the first time I stood up here, though I've introduced myself, but just to cover all the bases, my name is Kevin Daniel. I am the art director here at this church. So welcome. You're welcome to, there's my girl. I did not specifically thank her, but she, Mark, I was getting there. No, actually, well, I wasn't. I was actually flummoxed. I was just like, what is the name? It's Magdalene. Magda. She was instrumental in hanging the show, and I have a newfound respect for museum science like I'd never had before, all because of her. So thank you. You as well.
Thank you.
So to those of you on the live stream, I am welcoming you. Thank you. You've seen some slideshow images of all the pieces which are up on the walls, which we'll be discussing. And we will go ahead and do a little Q&A back and forth, her and I. Some prepared questions that sort of leave open some room for discussion, wherever she wants to take them. And then, if she's feeling up to it, we'll receive questions from the audience if any of you have any. Otherwise, we welcome you to mingle and to barrage her with questions in front of her art. So, without much further ado, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Again, I'm not a public speaker, I'm a public reader, so I'm just reading this. The sad thing is that I've gotten older than my technology, and so it's really small. I've got to take my glasses off and squint at all of you once I figure out how to put them in the shirt pocket. Okay. So, Carlie, in general, can you maybe introduce yourself and your artistic narrative for us, telling us how you got into art and how it's all led you here tonight?
Okay. Well, Evan.
Closer.
This?
A little closer.
Okay. I'm Carlie Pearson, and I'm a mixed media artist. And I guess I got into art as a kid, you know, messing around. And I have always, no, I can't say I've always enjoyed doing art. That would be wrong. I'm a mixed media artist. I like to use stuff, but I wasn't always a mixed media artist. I was, I was told I was an artist when I got a degree from the University of Texas in fine arts, but I didn't feel like I was an artist really until now, because my work and the body of work that I'm producing right now speaks to my soul, speaks about me, and is authentic. My work is autobiographic, it's egocentric, and it's really totally about myself. However, I have to say my greatest creations are my children, Samantha and Jonathan. Samantha is a graphic artist. She has her own website, Just Smile Stupid. Jonathan is an incredibly talented musician, and he's got a label with over 70 artists, as well as his own music. And he has Night Owl Collective, and I'm giving a shout out because I'm a proud mama. So.
Very good.
They are here. Stand up and take a bow, guys. And how did I get here?
Yes.
I was fortunate enough to be noticed by you, and you invited me. Thank you very much, Kevin.
You're very welcome. Thank you. Honestly, thank you. It is a joy to hang your artwork. Your headspace, the conceptual infrastructure that you occupy is something that speaks to me and enlivens me. And it fits together. And the original Latin for the word inspire, means God-breathed. I'm not about to make a plug for God. I'm just saying that I am inspired by your artwork, and so for what that is worth.
It's worth a lot. Thank you.
You're welcome.
for saying so.
I've got to be really kind to Carlie and follow my script, because I will go off script, and then bunny trails, and we'll wind up in
That's
Wonderland.
probably good. Like bunny trails.
I don't have any Lewis Carroll LSD or anything, heroin, so
Oh, well,
it'd be a
that's
sad
bad.
trip. Okay, so as I was saying, some of your pieces are exceptionally beautiful for me as an old philosopher, but which also are exceptionally evocative within my soul, eliciting a sense of a deeply shared pathos of suffering. And that's something you've spoken a lot about, is the suffering that's gone on in the production of your artwork. Can you maybe begin by saying something about the theme of suffering within your artwork, or other themes that run throughout it, and why those particular themes? What is the aim of creating work along those lines?
Well, for myself, I have experienced chronic pain, physically and emotionally and mentally. And throughout my life, I have dealt with those in various ways. I have ignored them. I have disassociated from them. I have rubbed dirt on them. I have reacted instead of acting with them. But it's only within the last 5 years that I've taken time to examine them, and in hopes that by doing so and by creating this work of art, I could understand that better and deal with that better. And so that's why I create the art that I create. I create it for myself.
Okay, I'm going to be kind and stick to the script, but I've got about 5 questions I want to ask you on that.
You can ask.
Okay, then I'll ask. Here we go. This just got fun. Well, for me at least. You've mentioned elsewhere to me that in your artwork, in exploring these issues, you begin a dialogue with yourself. You open up this dialogue and invite others into this dialogue to take from it what they will.
Right.
And I think that was almost an exact quote of you. How do you, as an artist, know that the work is complete? And when the work is complete, does that mean that the dialogue has closed on that particular issue?
No. The work itself might be complete, or that particular work might be complete, but the dialogue is not closed. The dialogue is ongoing. The dialogue never stops, and may, in turn, become another piece, for example. So I am Carlie Pearson, and I have issues. So how do I know when a piece is done? I work in layers, just like life is layered. And I keep on going until the piece, I usually start with a concept. So I keep going until the piece is saying what I think I'm trying to ferret out and say. And sometimes that changes. Sometimes as I'm working, I'm like, oh, I didn't mean to be saying that, but it comes from my psyche. And the work itself starts to say something that I didn't even know was there. So really, I'm talking to myself, about myself, and then you were talking about the viewer and them taking what they want from it. Well, I think the viewer, as a viewer, is going to always do that. The viewer has their own set of things that they see, and their experience is never going to be the same experience as I have had. And so in that sense, if it's speaking to them, then I've done well, right?
Indeed, indeed. Without sort of diverging too much from that flow, but because it's touching upon it, you mentioned the process and the layers that go into it. And you've said before that you've actually bled in, at least in the creation of some of your pieces. All of her work is hygienic. There's no blood in the pieces.
Right.
Though there was blood making some of them.
Yes.
Can you touch upon what that experience was, or any experience when you're making a piece and it becomes something which is physical and visceral in the production of it, and how that sort of changes the dialogue you're having, or maybe even adds another element to it, or maybe you could just go into the process itself?
I am not Bob Ross. I am not the joyful artist. My work is painful to create physically sometimes. For example, in the creation of that piece, there were so many painful things other than the thorns themselves. I went into a graveyard in 102-degree weather, did rubbings, and got chiggers. I mean, there's the surprise element of that. Hurt my back and was only able to adhere one thorn at a time on my way to the restroom. I mean, there are things that crop up that are not even, they're a surprise to me. I call myself the reluctant artist. I do not have much of an attention span. So I like to say that most of my work takes 12 hours of thinking and 5 minutes of working. There are times when for example, in the making of the piece that's called Breathless over there, I was using foam insulation, which adhered to my skin. Well, getting that off of my skin, I did not realize that I had given myself a chemical burn. So there's that. Or when I light something on fire or slash through a canvas and inadvertently cut myself. But I think that's all part of the creation of the pieces, that pain that I have caused myself makes the pieces so much more visceral to me.
Yeah, indeed, yes. So this is kind of maybe a...
But not necessary.
Not necessary.
It's not necessary for me to do that, it just happens.
It just happens, okay.
Yeah, I'm not trying to do it.
When, like with the chemical burn on
Yes.
Breathless or the thorn pieces, has there been a moment where the physical experience unexpectedly highlighted something in the concept as you were making it, or maybe brought a depth to it that you hadn't actually realized, and that changed the piece as you were making it?
Yes, I did this piece over here in an attempt to laugh at myself. But I had given the piece, what did I call it? The Oblivious Zen in response to the demise of the polar ice caps. I was laughing at myself because I hone in so personally on all of my little problems when there's so much going on around us in the world. The world is crumbling, the polar ice caps are melting, and here I am honing on my little issues. But in doing this piece, I had given myself a deadline to get it done. I didn't sleep, I didn't eat, I barely bathed, sorry, honey. Um, and it wasn't drying the way that I wanted it to. It wasn't behaving the way that I wanted it to. And so, in that sense, the making of that piece was not funny. And then the issue itself was really not funny and therefore not laughable. So that was surprising.
Indeed. I'm just going to look back at my phone to see if there's anything I really wanted to ask that I haven't asked.
Okay.
Like I said, I mean, you're going to hate this. I'm not a public speaker. I'm a writer.
Me
That's what I
neither.
do. I write. Ooh, there's a topic we didn't touch on. My
write.
writing. No, I'm joking. Your writing. So you've mentioned in the production of your piece, at least to me, in times past, that a lot of times if you're stuck or you're working on something in the piece, you begin writing. Explain the correlation of writing and the pieces that you're making.
I have always written, and for the longest time I did not create visual art. I wrote, and writing is important to me. And when I am stuck, I will write. And a lot of the time, writing appears on my canvases. I have kind of made a rule for myself, although I'm not adhering to it very well these days, and that's do something creative every day. That's kind of my one rule. I am not the most disciplined of people. So if I do not create something visually, or cook something, or get dressed, I find that maybe I can write something. So in that sense, I find writing to be a creative outlet and also very cleansing for my soul. But yes, I find that writing is extremely important to me, and I enjoy writing. That's something that's easy. I work in spurts. So with my art, my visual art, as well as my writing, things happen in spurts. I'll be thinking, and then all of a sudden, things pop out, and that happens with my writing as well. But yeah, sometimes when I'm not able to figure out what I'm doing on a canvas, I'll write for it. And if I've written for a piece, it generally ends up on the canvas.
So, as a writer, do you have authors that have, in some ways, influenced either your style of writing or your, I guess, either your ethos or your pathos in writing? Don't ask me to explain what I mean there. I'm really hoping it just like...
I think
okay.
I understand what you're saying. I am a voracious reader and have been since I was a child. However, if you were to ask me who my favorite author was or who's influenced me, I could not tell you. I really enjoy reading books that have series about Delta Force operators that go around the world killing people in order to save mankind. And that's my favorite thing. You know, weaponry and really powerful women. It's great. You know, I get my yayas out. It's the truth.
So I think my son has just found a new person to talk to. He'll definitely want to exchange some books.
But I don't read books of poetry, although I have. Okay. You know, and when I was really young, I mean, I lived in Hobbit land. You know, J.R. Tolkien was that's where I lived as a really young kid. Okay. So, yeah, or that was it. You know, I was fantasy. Anything I could do to escape, that's where I was.
So it's interesting that while art at first, like with the writing and the reading, was a source of escapism, your work now seems to be a source of, you're no longer escaping, you're actually dealing with it. You're facing
Yes.
it. And, but it hasn't changed the sort of stuff you read.
No.
Okay. Okay.
No, reading is my drug.
Okay.
Sometimes I feel guilty.
Yeah, I'm just going to totally forget the script. It was forgotten a long time ago. I'm going to do this to you, and you could say no. But there was something that you let me read that you've written that you said you felt maybe speaks to the current art on the walls. In acting, you just say yes and go with it. It fell. Yes, it fell. We don't know what happened. Do you care to read what you've written?
I can make an attempt to read it well. I enjoy this piece. It's the latest thing that I've written, and it speaks to what I feel that I go through. So yes, I would like to read it. Bear with me, guys.
So while she's pulling it up on her phone, I will say that when she's done, unless she has anything else to say, if she's up for it still, we'll take a question or two from the audience.
Sure.
And then we will proceed to mingle some more, and you guys can pepper her with questions or tell her how great she is, because I certainly want to.
On to the cream puffs, that's what I say.
On to the cream puffs. Yes, again, feel free to eat in here while you're looking at the art. Again, just be very careful, because they yell at me when I get stains on things, and I'm sensitive. I don't like being yelled at. Okay, ready?
Ready? No?
Go.
Okay. I will really try hard to change that word. God. Okay.
It's okay.
All right. I have not titled this, so this is my latest writing. Can you hear me?
A little closer.
Okay. Again, oldest and oldest. All right. Thank you. Is it the lesser angel or the greater demon constantly circling, pausing to rest briefly on my shoulder in quick succession, bickering incessantly and driving me to such distraction that my breath catches in my heart, pounding in my stomach, aching behind my eyes, weeping in my temples, pulsing behind my knees, wobbling in my ankles? 5 more hours of nothing have passed by because I can't seem to ambulate for some reason. Is there something wrong with me? What does being useful mean, and what purpose does it serve in the grand scheme of things, if there is a grand scheme? Why do anything useful? Legacy for my genetic forebears, or grand animals, as the case may be? Legacy for the sake of humanity? Legacy, a man-made word constructed to describe that which is left behind to remind others of a dearly departed me. Might just be describing the height of my egotistical fantasy, or the fear of the nothing I have created out of my anxiety. After the angels and the devils have had their way with me, whose frickin' responsibility will it be in the grand scheme of things? Damn, damn, damn it all. Another hour wasted pondering.
And this is why I love her.
Thank you, Kevin.
So, I'm going to give a verbal nod to my wife that we're going to ask a few questions. And then at the end of the question asking, I want my wife to be ready. We have a small something for you. Any questions of anyone? Yes.
I'm loud.
Okay, I'm still going to repeat you
He's a
for the live
singer.
stream.
Okay.
Okay.
So, you mentioned that you went to school, got your degree, and yet you didn't feel like an artist. And you didn't feel like an artist until recently, or within the creation. So when did that change? When did you finally feel like, aha, if I died today in this moment, I feel like an artist?
So let me repeat that for the live stream. Hopefully I'll get it right. Next time I'm just going to hand you the mic. If I get it wrong. So the question was, you received your degree in art a while back, but then went for a period where you weren't creating. And tell me if I get this wrong, please. where you weren't creating, but then creation began for about the past 5 years.
Right.
When was that aha moment, and what precipitated that knowledge of yourself as an artist?
Therapy.
Fair enough.
I had a discussion, and the discussion centered around self-definition. Because for a while, I did not know who I was, literally. And I asked somebody if I never lifted a paintbrush or created another work of art, could I still call myself an artist? And it was somebody who I respected, and the answer to that was, yes, you are an artist. Yes, you are a writer. And I really had to work on myself in order to be able to believe that.
I would agree. Any other questions from anyone? Bonnie, yes.
So you mentioned your gathering process and the pain of it, the thorns and the rubbing
Yes.
and so forth. And I know I was surprised that you could, when you, especially in your writing, you talk about not being able to ambulate. And so I'm wondering what your studio looks like. Do you have just, because you must have buckets of words that you cut up, and when you go out, I'm a friend with an art doll maker, and so I was speaking to her, she broke her arm, and I was talking to her, chatting with her, and she said, so I told her that I knocked down the wasp nest, and she said, you didn't throw it away, did you? And I said, of course not, I know not to do that. And so, tell me about the gathering and the buckets that you have, and whether you gather first and then see the art, or whether you've seen the art and you go and gather.
I never see a completed piece. I have tons of stuff. Objects speak to me, or I find things interesting. I don't care about real stuff that much. And I've been able to get rid of like clothing and jewelry and dishes lately. But if you were to go into my studio, I have bins, and they're labeled plastic, wood, nature, fabric, paper, and they're big plastic tubs. And inside of them is a mishmash of crap. And when I go to make pieces, I'll have an idea of what I have, but I don't have the catalog in my brain anymore. Brain damage is not good. I just have an idea of what it is I want to say, or like at the bin will say metal, and I'll look through there, and I'll just start pulling. Glue is my favorite friend, and I just start putting things together, and I will spend hours rearranging in order to get a pleasing, what I consider to be a pleasing composition. As far as my process, I weave things, and it comes from the bottom and grows, and then I'll slash back through. So, does that answer your question?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
If you could put the mic a little closer, I'm concerned about our live stream people not hearing.
Okay, sorry.
Thank you so much.
You're
and
welcome.
Thank you for answering that so well.
Oh, good, thanks.
Yeah.
Dan?
Another, I have a lot of questions. Just give me one. You know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. So, where is the weirdest place that you've gathered something for a piece? And then is it also awkward when you're out and you see things and you're with people and you're like, hold on, I need that item for a piece? And does it cause your friends to be like, ugh, here we go?
I don't have that many friends. Actually, friends
What about
are,
with him?
he's used to me. It's never awkward to me. Where's the weirdest place? I don't consider places to be weird.
Socially weird. Like we wouldn't think of someone.
No, but the weirdest thing to me is when people who know me and see my art decide that I need things. And so they decide that I must have certain things, and I try to be very polite before I chuck them. So I have been given, for example, really smelly stuff before, like medication and, things that I'm like, thank you, and then these never appear in my art because for some reason it's very important to me that I choose them. I've gone into a place it used to be on Congress. I forget what the name of the place is, but I will go in and objects will talk to me. I don't even know why. And eventually they'll find their way into my art. Like, for example, that piece over there, what is that called? Coming Apart at the Seams, where I found those little bottles and knew that I had to have them, not knowing where they would end up. That's kind of how my work is. Jean, you wanted to talk? I saw you.
You were paying attention. Since you're working from the depths of your soul, when you create pieces, other people get them and they want them. I know you sell a lot of work. People want them. Does it just kill you to let them go? Because it's a piece of you. It's such a piece of you. And secondly, are there pieces sometimes that are so deep and so painful that you destroy them?
Well, okay. Thank you for saying that a lot of people want them. I don't know that that's necessarily so. I never consider my work to be so precious that I would not sell it. And as far as destruction goes, I think that when I was young, like when I was at the university, I was very cavalier about my work, and maybe to a certain extent I still am pretty cavalier about my work. I never think of my work as being that wonderful. I've been told that it is, and I'm always kind of in awe when people tell me that. So in that sense, I'm not that careful. And when I was at the University of Texas, I left behind a huge body of work because I had no place to put it, and I just hoped that maybe they wouldn't destroy it. I have no clue where it ended up. No, nothing is that precious to me. Yes, it is personal, but if somebody will want it, they're more than welcome to buy it. I'm done. You have to use mine. I'll share.
Okay. Sure. Are there any other questions? Go ahead.
Dibs on the iceberg piece.
That's my wife, by the way. So,
Thank you.
thank you. Seriously. You're welcome. Thank you. So, no more questions. No hands are going up. Going once, going twice. So we have to hand the mic back to her because it's the only one with batteries.
Okay, so going back to Jean, was it a Jean? Yes. So you said that you didn't value or you were cavalier about your art, and that while it was a piece of you, and someone says it is wonderful, you constantly say like, well, I don't know about that. Do you, and I don't mean this in any sort of, I think I've known you since I was so little, and I was telling Sam what an influence you were on my life when I was growing up, and how I looked to you guys as a safe place to be. And so hearing you say that you don't value your art is very interesting to me. And so do you think that that's just part of like the negative headspace that we create for ourselves? That we see you as this beautiful human being creating beautiful works of art, and yet we can't see ourselves
like the world sees us, that we are these beautiful human beings and creations, and yet we constantly devalue ourselves. So do you think that that's part of what goes into play here when the negative self-talk? Yes. Oh, hi, yeah. You.
Yes, and it's part of what I'm working on, and it's part of what I grew up with, and it's part of the way that I was taught to see myself, and it's part of what I hope I didn't impart to my children. So I'm a work in progress still, and the only thing that I wish is that I had started to delve into this part of my psyche earlier. Don't wait until you're as old as I am. Here's a cautionary tale.
Okay, going once, going twice. Any other questions? Awesome. Let's eat, drink, be merry, and look at the art. Pepper. You're welcome. I really will bounce you guys out of here at 9.
that